We are ready. Hey guys, I hope you're well. We are back on the Talkwoods, and tonight we've actually, it's not really a Talkword, is it? It's the M word. I've got to get out of saying a Talkword, which is my usual radio show. And this is the M word. I am back for the second installment of the M word with the lovely Zoe, my co-host, who's going to be running the show this evening. And Zoe has managed to get on her friend Tom. Sorry, there you go. I was thinking of Adam last time. Tom Mucklow. Great start, Nat. Great start. I was thinking of something else then. I was like, Tom has got an amazing mushroom company, and I'm going to let Zoe talk about it more than me because she understands it way better. But I will let you guys go now and make sure that I am doing you justice. And Zoe, do you know what I'm going to do? I know you haven't done this before. When you start talking, I'm going to make you bigger because I know how to do this now. So take the show over, and I'm going to put it all on you.
How exciting. So yeah, we're here with my friend Tom Mucklow, who is the founder of Aurora Mornings. We met last year, I think, when scouring the internet for other people that were doing cool things with adaptogens. We kind of connected and realized that we had a shared passion for mushrooms. So really exciting to be having a little chat with you today. Aurora, for people that don't know, is a functional adaptogenic wellness supplement brand. Whew, mouthful. And it's designed for people who struggle in the mornings, find they get that groggy head, always reaching for that cup of coffee. And really, Tom designed a natural way to help get everything started first thing in the morning and give you those key adaptogenic herbs, some mushrooms, some herbs, different plants to kind of really get your system up and running for the day. So I'm going to let you, Tom, tell everyone a little bit more about Aurora. And then we're just going to chat about mushrooms, adaptogens, and kind of what took you on your journey.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, Nat and Zoe. Yeah, pleased to be here. So yeah, I mean, I'll kick it off. I mean, it's kind of long story, I guess, one longish story. But like, I mean, I've been a bit of a like mornings obsessive for like most of my life. Like I'm always up, I'm always the first one up. I'm always the one like singing and dancing like first thing in the morning. But I've also always been interested into kind of gaming the mornings. Like how can I like incremental improvements always like something it's quite close to like my heart. It's always like top of my mind. Like what can I constantly be doing to like improve like how I function, improve how I live really. So kind of the 1% like incremental gains that every day, like in whatever I'm doing is something I'm kind of constantly striving for. And I definitely noticed that kind of getting into work really early, there were a ton of people in my office who would kind of stumble in like an hour or so later than me and just be like head messy, unable to really function. So I like kind of having kind of dabbled with adaptogens myself, kind of probably, I guess the first time I ever really had what you call an adaptogen. And actually, I mean, do people even know what adaptogens are?
It would be helpful. We obviously all know, but I think, yeah, explain a little bit about adaptogens and why they're so amazing.
Sure. Do you mind if we also have all the cameras on? Sorry, it's kind of quite weird.
No, if you want to feel a little bit pressure.
I kind of prefer that. Yeah, that's way better. It was kind of weird. It was like looking at a mirror. I was like practicing on myself, frantically pressing all the buttons.
I thought I was being a pro. I was like, I'm going to be professional, and I'm going to, because everybody's like, no, you should take it into one thing at a time. And I'm like, and the first time I do it, I get told off.
So it was only.
I feel like I was on my own there now. I can't like we're all together again.
Yeah, way better. So yeah, I mean, for those who don't know what adaptogens are, I believe the term was like coined in Russia in like the 1950s or something. But it's basically like refers to a herb or a plant that has properties for like helping to like particularly like help the body deal with stressful situations, things like that. So it could be anything from like, I mean, external and internal stresses, whether that's like lifting weights or whether that's like dealing with like anxiety over like your boss is gonna shout at you at the 9 a.m. stand-up or whatever it is. Something kind of like that kind of holistically deals with all of those stresses. And there's like a multitude of herbs and kind of mushrooms that fall broadly under this category. So I've kind of been like I mean, very loosely messing around with them probably since I lived in China for a year when I was like early 20s. And I had what was known as an IE, which is kind of very, very grand name. For us, that means that auntie, but like it was the lady who's kind of like come around and cook and clean a little bit and kind of help us with like dealing with life in Shanghai. But I remember being quite ill one day, and she kind of came around and gave me what I later learned was reishi. But she, like, I think that was probably the first time I ever really came into contact with them in a way that I could kind of acknowledge. Like, I'm sure I probably had some sort of traditional Chinese medicine type stuff before growing up, but that was like the first time that I was like, oh, okay, right, this is like a thing that people take. So I guess it all kind of like came from there. I didn't really like dive in too deeply until I lived in the US, really. And I just kind of, I mean, it feels like, I mean, the US compared to the UK, I think, well, maybe that was my mindset, seems to maybe be like a step or two ahead in terms of like wellness trends, or like just kind of, it does tend typically, I don't know what your feelings about this, Zoe, but like I definitely feel like the US typically leads the way in some of these things.
Yeah, I think that. I think I don't know whether it's because just of the nature of business and the way that kind of, you know, anything seems to be possible in America. And, you know, it's a bit more of a, even though the FDA are still quite strict on certain regulations, there is a bit of a Wild West, I think, attitude,
Totally.
to getting stuff fresh, which, you know, on the one side means you have lots of horrible, weird, nasty chemicals in your food. But on the other hand, it means that you can, you know, there's a lot more give and take when it comes to herbal medicine. And
100%. Yeah, exactly. So I think, I mean, there was just, I guess like a few years ago, I felt like there was a bit of an explosion of these kind of like, or just an explosion in my kind of friendship group of people like trying adaptogens. And I was like, oh yeah, I know a little bit about this, and just started like experimenting more with it. And that kind of ties in loosely to what I was talking about before, just really noticing that I typically was pretty good in the morning, but like a lot of other people like weren't. I think the whole, I feel bad on a Monday morning or Tuesday morning or whatever it is fairly like endemic across like most people. Like I'm a morning person for sure, but a lot of people aren't. So I was just kind of playing around with adaptogens, thinking like, how can I kind of create something kind of for myself that makes me even more perky and annoying like first thing in the morning, and also how can I help like others kind of become like more kind of awake and alert in the morning, feel better, being able to kind of get out of bed. And particularly in this day and age where like there's no commute or like walk to kind of break up your kind of morning straight through to office. Like, I mean, at the moment I literally roll out of bed into my desk and my bed is there. So like I think like it's becoming kind of obviously more important that people can kind of have something that just helps them slip it from sleep mode to work mode. And obviously like coffee is kind of a thing. And I mean, I'm the first to admit I do drink a fair amount of coffee, but I was trying to create something which is like much less caffeine. I mean, there is a small amount of caffeine in morning light, but something that's kind of more heavily weighted towards like adaptogenic herbs and like relying on them really as a means to kind of feeling more alert and more awake in the morning, and just kind of providing the body with kind of like an extra like oomph to just kind of get it moving in the morning.
I think there's two bits I want to touch on. One is China, and
yeah,
that sounds super interesting. I'm going to come back to that. But secondly, it's this whole culture about, you know, Monday mornings and everyone's tired in the morning and can't do anything till I have my coffee. There's a million memes about it, and coffee companies obviously love that. But it's almost become normal to wake up feeling shit and normal to wake up feeling tired. Either that's because you're hungover, you've had a late night in front of the TV, you've eaten loads of crap food just before you go to bed. So if people are, you know, in the West certainly are naturally waking up feeling rubbish. You know, some of us, you know, not me, get up and go for a run at 6 o'clock in the morning before they go to work, or you know, you might walk to work, but you're more likely to sit in your car, sit on your bum on a tube or a subway, and then you sit at your desk all day. But that's not really how humans are supposed to function. You know, we're not supposed to rely on pills to non-herbal pills, certainly to perk us up. We're not supposed to rely on coffee every morning. We should wake up when the sun rises and and, you know, jump on working in the fields or whatever we used to be doing. But yeah, it's interesting how this whole culture is kind of glamorized and almost made it cool to be groggy in the morning. So
Yeah.
I think it's interesting now people are becoming aware of that. And another thing you mentioned is 1%, and I love that, and I'm very much about that. It's like, what thing can you do to add 1% to your fitness, to your work, to your relationships, to your friendships, to your family? And you know, if you think about a huge big task that you have to achieve, it's really overwhelming. And you know, it seems very unachievable. You know, it's like, I want to lose X amount of pounds, or I want to get a 6-pack, or, you know, I want whatever it is. But if you go, right, every day I just want to improve something by 1%, then suddenly that's super achievable. You just do that little workout, or you just spend that little extra time with a friend or something. And I think that's a really nice thing to focus on, the extra 1%.
Yeah, I mean that 1%. I'm a little bit of a finance investing nerd as well, but like the kind of compound interest, like that 1% over time, if you do 1% every day for a year, if it's like $1 or £1 or whatever, over, I don't know quite what it is, but over a year, it's basically going up to kind of 365, is something astronomical. It's like 500 or like 500,000 or something insane. If you just kind of, it's really impressive. And just if you kind of put that towards just your health, your relationships, like improve your nutrition, just trying to cook more. I mean, that is like such a, you mentioned that, like why people sleep really badly. It's out here, like people don't think anything of having like takeout 5 nights a week. And like you're eating like a really heavy, like salty meal before you go to bed, like you're going to sleep badly.
Yeah. And then getting up in the morning, of course, you know, you're going to feel bad. But I feel like there is a change in the wind. And I don't know whether that's just in, you know, the middle class, more privileged West, where we can afford, you know, to kind of have this different focus. But I feel like there's definitely a pushback now. And whether it's COVID, it's been happening before COVID, but certainly now I think there's that mirror that's been put up towards people, and they're now going, okay, I really need to look after my health, and I really need to focus on my health. And I wonder how many people still have that awful morning feeling when they are rolling out of bed, just sitting up their chair, or is the stress of work and, you know, the rat race for a lot of people, is that compounding to that kind of feeling of dread and anxiety when you wake up, on top of feeling tired. You know, feeling anxious and feeling stressed makes you feel tired. So got that, you know, beavering away, like you said, that extra kind of toxin that you're loading into your body, the extra stress that's coming into your body. I think, you know, these things all add up. So, but I feel people now are looking back to nature, you know, and they're looking to natural solutions to help themselves. And as much as coffee is delicious, you know, having 5-10 cups of it every day is not good for you. You know, certainly there's evidence on both sides of the fence that maybe one coffee a day, you know, actually can do you good. There's lots of phytochemicals in it and antioxidants, but it depends. Are you having a nice small organic black coffee, or are you having a Starbucks 16-ounce full of caramel syrup and creamer and everything like that? You know, have 3 of those a day, and that is not good for you. So I think, you know, you started Aurora. Have you noticed since you guys begun, it's not a really long time, but have you noticed in the time that you have been open and trading that you've had people seeking more natural remedies? Have you kind of got feedback from your customers? And
100%, yeah. I think just in general, like, I mean, I know I mentioned kind of adaptogens was kind of seemed to be becoming a bit of a thing a few years ago. I mean, it's still like very much in its infancy. Definitely getting a lot more interest of people kind of exploring kind of what adaptogens can do for them. Definitely, like you kind of touched on, just like natural remedies for things. Like, I mean, I live in the kind of the global capital of like pharma and like big pharma and like prescription meds. So I think people are like a bit sick of like going to the doctor and having to like spend an absolute fortune on pills. Like, I've got great health insurance. I mean, slightly off topic. Great health insurance the other day, like trying to get some like pretty generic pills where like they wanted like $1,000. So I think people are just kind of a bit like done with that. I mean, there's obviously a load of stuff in the papers about I mean, the OxyContin scandals and all of that. Like, I think people are just kind of craving a bit more of a back to the basics, kind of what did great grandmother used to take to like help cure like this ailment. So yeah, I think there's definitely that kind of trend. I think people in general want to eat better, more focus on kind of organic, like health foods, a lot less like processed, like processed produce. Yeah.
I've got a question for you. So
Sure.
I know Zoe's done a lot of research into everyone that we're going to be having on the show, but coming from someone who's brand new to your product until I got your email, the idea of kind of your point of creation of having something in the morning, is it a powder or is it in a capsule form? And how would someone take it? Can you go into a little bit more about Aurora and exactly what it is and
Sure.
what I could get out of it for me if I woke up in the morning and was like, right, this is the product I'm going to choose today?
Sure. Yeah. So it's in a capsule, and it is a blend of 6 adaptogenic herbs that I had been taking like independently, like myself, or I'd be taking like kind of 4 or 5 of them. Just that, like, it was kind of a long time of just like messing around, like myself, just trying different things, finding out what really worked for me, and then I worked with a like a herbalist out here, and also a nutritionist as well, just to kind of help like balance the formula really, and help kind of really like get it to production. But yeah, it's basically like 6 adaptogenic herbs, all kind of that they provide focus in one form or another, or like kind of help aid stamina, like improve focus and aid stamina is really kind of what we're going for with it. So like the idea of it behind taking Aurora Morning Light is that it just kind of, you wake up and it kind of gives you not the kind of jolt that a cup of espresso would do, but it would just kind of gently like elevate you out of your morning slumber and just kind of give you a clear head and kind of help ease you out into your day. And it works pretty quickly actually, but it's like, it's all natural. It's obviously all herbs. Apart from one substance called shilajit, which is like a kind of, it's like almost like shilajit. Yeah, it's a good kind of
something I wanted to ask you about, because I've seen it done in a few places, and I've seen it's an ingredient within the capsule. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because it's something that grows on rocks. Right?
Yeah, it's
it does sound a bit random, doesn't it, when you talk about it?
Yeah, I'm like still not 100% sure how they like harvest it or whatever, but it literally like comes out of rocks in like the Himalayas. So it's like it's just like a mineral. It's like rich in like kind of like it's just like really heavily rich in various chemicals, particularly kind of like iodine. I'm not 100% sure how it entirely works, but it's been used in kind of the Himalayan kind of cultures for years, like very like big in kind of traditional Chinese medicine. Just kind of helps to kind of improve stamina and focus. So actually that was one I wasn't using before, but that's one my herbalist really highly recommended. So I started kind of using that and added that in. But yeah,
that's put that on the chat just in case anybody wants to see that. It'll be popping up in the comments.
It is really random. I was like, what the hell is that? And she's like, no, honestly, it's really good. I was like, okay,
yeah, I saw it some time ago and I was like, that looks gross. But then there's so much, and it is like you guys are doing something that's quite at the forefront of kind of the natural movement and coming back in and using other ingredients and things like this that we've never heard of. Obviously is really good for like marketing as well, because you're like, oh, what's that? And
what is this funky ingredient?
Yeah, what is this? I want to take it because it's new, because that's what we constantly want. We constantly want the new. And I mean, Zoe, your product that you've got is relatively, I don't know any other mushroom kind of non-alcoholic beers. It's new, it's novel, and I guess that really does help. But with your thing in the morning, so how long would it take me to, because I don't drink coffee. I very rarely, if I go out and I might have a decaf latte like once every other month or something, but I don't drink coffee in the morning. I've got like a reishi mix that I put in my shake. But how long would it take me to feel some kind of benefit from the minute if I took it with a shake as a capsules or whatever? How long would that be?
I mean, it's kind of I'm struggling to find the word. It improves like the longer you take it. So it's like if you kind of first couple of days, you might feel a little bit better, but like over kind of a continued period of time, so talking kind of a week plus, really 2 weeks plus, that's when you kind of really start to feel the benefits. You just kind of typically just wake up feeling a bit clearer headed. So yeah, it's less like a kind of a immediate fix, but it definitely you do definitely get those kind of benefits, but the main benefits really are kind of more longer term, like the longer you take them. No, I mean, obviously it does kind of hit a level of like a kind of a max, but you kind of start to see like the biggest improvements probably a week or two after you first start taking it.
This is the thing with herbal supplements and herbal medicine and adaptogens. It's like we're now in this culture where it's like you want to take something and you want to come up within 20 minutes. Like you want to know that whatever you're taking, that painkiller.
We're expecting the ecstasy effect, aren't we?
Exactly. It's like I want to know that I've taken something, but that's not how nature works.
No.
That's not how your body works, really. For the most part, for non-psychoactive herbal medicine, certainly, it's a cumulative effect.
Yeah, cumulative was the word I was looking for. Thank you.
That's why adaptogens work so well, because they build up in your body and they help you adapt and they adjust your levels, and they don't they don't overstimulate, but they help kind of find that equilibrium. But that's a big education piece that I think consumers need to have. I've had it with my product. People go, oh, will I get a feeling from it? I said, well, if you regularly take it, and have a few of them, you might get feeling more relaxed, or you might feel like you have more energy. But these things aren't instant, and people think if something isn't instant, then somehow it's not proper or it's not working. So we definitely have to go back to this more old school way of treating ailments. And you aren't just going to wake up skinny if you want to lose weight. You're not just going to wake up with the birds if you're trying to kind of change your diet. You might change your plant-based diet and go, well, why don't I feel good? It's like these things are going to take time and your body's going to adjust. And I think that's something that traditional medicine has known for a long time. Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, it's all about building up these layers of stuff within your body. But I think education, your website's amazing in terms of education on that. Amazing.
Thank you.
But I had a good poke around, and there's lots of explanations about these herbs, and I think that's really important because people don't know what these herbs are. They don't understand them. They don't really know the effects that they're going to have. So I feel like education is really important to make sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you definitely come up against kind of skepticism a fair amount, but I mean, it's one of those things you just kind of try it and stick with it, and like the benefits are kind of plain to see for sure.
Yeah.
I always find it funny, like if I go to stay at someone's house or something and they're taking their vitamins in the morning, they're like, oh, do you want some? And I'm like, there's no point in me taking your vitamins just at random, like just the odd one or two. Doesn't do anything at all, does it? And it's that, like, now I know I'm taking MSM, which is the MSM sulfur, crystal sulfur. I don't know if either of you have seen it, but I've been taking that, and I've taken it. You do this like routine, and I take it at 9 in the morning and at 9 at night, and I took it for 30 days straight, and I saw a ridiculous difference between before and after with my face. It was crazy. I'll try and find it. You guys are talking, but that gave me the incentive, and so everywhere I go now, when I go to London, I take a little pot of it and I take it with me because I've seen the benefit. But I had to wait, 30 days is still quite a long time, but then again, it's just also quite a short time, but that gave me the incentive to keep going with it. But you're right, it's like if we do want this immediate kick, and we do have to train ourselves to come back out of that habit. But how do you think we could do that? I mean, this is a question to both of you, because you've both got brands in this area. How do you think you can make that more attractive to people, or what do you think that could be done differently or needs to be done more of to be able to get people to get that message across? Or is it just you're just going to have to wait?
I mean, I do think that's the sad kind of state of our kind of. I think we're kind of touching on like other cultural issues here, but yeah, I think people are just preconditioned to with everything in life. I don't have it on my website necessarily, but I build a lot of websites. Like, the amount of times we put up those like timers being like, buy this in 2 minutes, otherwise you're not getting a discount. Like we just kind of encourage this in every facet of like our existence. I mean, media's built around like constantly kind of giving people that endorphin hit. Like, I think we just love that as humans. And so I feel like, I think maybe kind of traditional cultures maybe were, maybe they weren't able to kind of have those endorphin hits. So they're far more open to the idea of waiting 30 days for like the medicines to kind of properly do their thing. But I don't see like how we can do it other than just kind of a slow education, slowly like getting some people in who kind of tell other people about the benefits, but it's not going to be an overnight fix for sure.
No.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one. You know, we've got a culture now that is immediate. They want everything to be fast and immediate, and everything around us is perpetuating that, which is a nightmare for people who are trying to perpetuate like a slowing down and a going back to nature. And so there's two like real
opposing forces.
Exactly, yeah, opposing forces. And that's another thing that's I'm sure adding anxiety unbeknown to people in the background. But I think in terms of brands that are trying to help create natural solutions to our modern day hectic lifestyles, it's about education is one, whether it's subscription services, which are great, whether it's like try this for a month and you get your money back, and kind of understanding that people are buying into the brand, and they're buying into be realistically not lifetime, because people just don't stick around that long, but you're going to stay with this brand for maybe a year, a couple of years, and you kind of have to build up that relationship with your customer, and kind of build up that trust as well. And I think you do that by the education you have on your website, the newsletters, the content that you're creating. And I think the more people see these herbs, oh, ashwagandha, I've read about that. Oh, reishi or turkey tail. And, the more people are seeing that information coming out, the more confidence it's giving them. And, the placebo effect across all medicines is not to be discounted. And the fact that if you think you're taking a pill and it will make you feel better in the morning, probably will make you feel better. It could have amphetamine in it, or it could have herbs in it, or it could have a placebo. But if you think that you're being told it will make you have more morning energy, it's going to affect it a little bit. And that's not to say that that's discrediting any medicines, because the power of positive thought is one of our kind of original toolkits in health and wellness that that we have. So I think people are definitely coming around to that.
100%. Yeah, no, I'd agree. It just takes time, but yeah,
we'll just keep slogging away at it, guys.
Keep slogging away.
So talk to me about China, because I mean, Asia fascinates me. I haven't been to China. It's definitely on my list of places to go. I think the culture is fascinating, especially in terms of their culture around herbs, traditional Chinese medicine, and their use of mushrooms, particularly. China has been functional mushrooms have been growing obviously in chaga grows in Siberia and Northern Europe, and their people have been using it for thousands of years, if not millennia. But China, one of the biggest cultivators of mushrooms, because they still use them quite strongly in Chinese medicine. In China and in Japan, functional mushrooms are kind of a complementary treatment for chemotherapies, and they're prescribed by medical doctors for treatments on many different things. So how did you find out more about mushrooms when you were there, and was it this auntie that kind of showed you the way? Or?
Literally, yeah. I was just feeling like fluey or something one day, and she just kind of I think she prepared like a kind of a reishi tea. I'm pretty sure it was reishi, and it was like in a tea. She just kind of made like chopped it up and just kind of brewed me a big tea, and I just watched the film, and I remember thinking, what is this? This is very kind of tastes quite nice, and like I felt better, and that was like really that was kind of the beginnings of it. I didn't like study too much more about traditional Chinese medicine whilst in China. Like slightly regret that a little bit, particularly like from her. Like I think she could have probably shared with me some serious pearls of wisdom, and my kind of Chinese language would have got a lot more interesting if I could kind of speak about traditional Chinese medicine as well. But yeah, I mean, it was an amazing country. I don't know if you've not been. I always say it's one of the, like an amazing place to live. I don't think it's like the best place to travel around, because it's kind of quite hard to get your way around. And they've also done a pretty good job of like destroying a lot of their like traditional culture over the last like 50, 60 years. That being said, the people are amazing, and the natural beauty is stunning. And the food, I'm just like, I cook a lot of Chinese food actually, is like so unique. You can go 20 miles down the road and you'll have a whole different cuisine. People always think that the kind of the Chinese takeout in kind of the UK is like typical Chinese food, but it's very much not. It's kind of a fairly bastardized version of like Hong Kong food, Cantonese food, but like there's just like kind of a whole plethora of other cuisines and flavors, and they're really big on like their textures, which is kind of quite unique. Like they love like in the UK everything is like I don't know, like meaty or vegetable or whatever. And it, like the Chinese have about 3 or 4 other like really bizarre textures that we just wouldn't go near in the UK or Europe in general, like the Western world. I mean, kind of like slimy and like I can't remember yeah, they just have these like really bizarre little like I mean, you don't really know. I don't want to dive in too deep into what they actually are, but they love the texture. So it kind of just has it's like a cuisine of like a whole different like element to them.
And I think that's, they use a lot of mushrooms
Totally.
wise, and mushrooms can have, wildly varying textures from, fleshy, almost fish-like,
Yeah.
to slimy, to some of them kind of almost crunchy on the edge. I mean, it's bizarre the different textures that you can get. But I think then that goes back to, Chinese medicine and traditional medicine, where it's the flavors, the bitter, the sweet, the sour, certainly in Ayurvedic medicine, and the heat that all affects your constitution and your energy and your chi and how things around your body. And I think another thing you said is, that they've done quite a good job at destroying their culture. And I think any country that's touched by the West, that happens, because suddenly everybody wants to be like America or be like Europe. And, we kind of have the similar brands and the similar lifestyles and the kind of the natural native habitats and culture kind of get eroded or watered down into this kind of Western version. But I do feel that we're having this resurgence of kind of a modern shamanism, modern herbalism, going back to taking, and we can never do it how, the shamans did it and how the medicine men did it, because we're not in that time. But I think what's interesting is we're seeing lots of young people really looking back to nature for, whether it's psychedelic medicines in terms of helping mental health and all those amazing studies that are happening again, whether it's, looking back to nature to help you get up in the morning, or to help your immunity, or to help your anxiety. And I think on the one hand, all these ancient cultures are disappearing and kind of merging into this beige mush. I think there is definitely a resurgence of people now trying to desperately cling on to those cultures, which I find really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. And we touched on that a little bit about like in the US, but yeah, like I think that is probably very fair in China as well, as like after kind of years of globalization and like a ton of like Western money coming in and like opening out and business and just like kind of ignoring the past. I think people are just like taking a step back and kind of thinking about what it maybe means to be Chinese, and in that looking kind of deeper into like their culture and their heritage and their history, and thinking like, maybe I don't need all these kind of crazy white pills to make me feel better. Maybe I can trust on what my kind of grandma used to have to kind of help cure like this, that, or whatever. And there's very much there's a ton of resurgence of both like people just kind of launching brands in the space, and also as you like kind of touched on Japan, there's like there's very much like a kind of a crossover between kind of traditional medicine and kind of more modern Western medicine now, with using kind of turkey tail in chemo treatments and things like that. So I think you're probably going to see a lot more of that going forward as more studies are done on some of these more traditional herbs, that it will kind of become patently clear that actually taking astragalus or something with XYZ is a benefit. You should definitely be doing it. You'll probably also see that like they can take a compound out of it and turn it into a white pill as well. But but I definitely think there's way more kind of impetus for people to just be like, why have the white pill when I can take the actual green herb and get the full benefits of the plant, as opposed to some sort of synthesized compound that is discovered within it.
I think we're always going to have that struggle, with big pharma, and the fact that if something can't be patented, then it's not proper medicine and it's not good for you, because they can't license it and make money from it.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole reason. Modern medicine is amazing. It's does and has done amazing things. If you cut your finger now, you're probably not going to get gangrene and die, or if you drink something dodgy in the river. There's modern medicine is fantastic, but on its kind of rise to the mainstream and one type of medicine, there was a lot of pushing out the way of these traditional medicines, and a lot of discrediting these medicines by big pharma, because if I could just go out and pick that mushroom or pick that herb and not pay you lots of money for your pills, then I'm going to be a healthier person, and that is not good business. So, you know, we're seeing, like you said, the oxytocin and you know, all the scandals with the opioid crisis in America, but also the price of medicines going up. You know, people woke up one morning and their diabetic pill that cost them $16 a day now costs them $60 a day, you know, or $100 a day. And you know, so with that is coming this backlash. But I think what's interesting is the way we share information and also the science around it. So that little old lady's been taking that herb since she was a child because it just makes you feel better when you're sick. But now science can go, actually, there's a compound within that herb that, you know, supports immune response. So now we're kind of being able to match those two together. So I think you're right. We're kind of, everyone's becoming very aware that Big Pharma has an agenda, and yes, part of it's to heal you, but part of it's to make a lot of money. And I think now the science can back up the herbal remedies. So yeah, I think we're on the cusp of it really changing and people's perceptions of herbal medicine and natural ways to kind of get our bodies through life and everything we throw at them.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I wanted to ask you something, Tom, and I asked the guy from the last show that we did, what's the kind of, because there's so many, I mean, me and Zoe have been looking at things. I've dealt more with the psychedelic version of mushrooms than I have with the kind of stuff that you guys are talking about. And there's some incredible projects out there. What other projects have you come across or you've seen along your path that you think really are doing amazing things in the mushroom space? What other brands are out there that you really kind of like the look of and that you want to give it a push for?
Well, I mean, the one that is the big one. I mean, I used to use it. I'm it's kind of it's a bit too big now, but I'm not it's a bit too big, but I don't love the products kind of so much. I found better products, but they are probably the number one out here. Is like the Four Sigmatic kind of brand. Like, I think there were real trailblazers in the space. Like, I'm not mad keen on their products, but the CEO is kind of, he's like some sort of Finnish mushroom farmer, and has been like his been literally doing it for generations. Like, he's like number 7 or something, the 7th generation of like Finnish mushroom farmer. Wow. And he just kind of like, and this is, I don't know when he started Four Sigmatic, probably like 10 plus years ago or something. So he's like fairly like, I mean, from my experience in the kind of space, it was very much the one that I saw first. So in terms of like credit, in terms of like blazing trails and things, like that's a brand that I think has done phenomenally well. But what I really like at the moment, I don't know if you've come across them, Zoe, is Rainbow. Have you seen those? It's like Rainbow without a W. And their packaging is really cute. And it's all
Rainbow without a W, yeah?
Yeah,
Rainbow.
I think it's just rainbow.com without a W. But it's I use their like 1111 drops like a lot, which is like, I think it's just kind of a full spectrum. Like, it's only fruiting body. I think everything is like, yeah, how cute is that?
I totally know what you mean. I wonder if I can
click
show
on their website is like a little mushroom. It's just adorable.
Yeah, they are so cute. Hold on one second. You know, I can actually do what we can do. I can share a screen on this now. It gives me all the options. So let's share a screen. So let's share a screen so we can actually show everyone what we're talking about. And I'm going to go up here. Can you guys see that on the screen?
Yeah, get rid of the email capture, I think. Yeah.
That way, yeah. I see little mushrooms, it moves around.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
How cute is that?
But they do like, what I love is like, my favorite thing about it is that they do like mushroom foraging days where you can just like meet up with the founder and just get like forage mushrooms somewhere in like Canada, which is just so cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that's what I use, the super multi mushroom synergy one.
Yeah,
I love that.
And what does I love? They've called it 1111.
Yeah, I don't know why. There is a reason why it's called 1111. I can't remember why. I think I did used to know, but it's kind of like it's a fairly. I think there's probably about 6 or 7 functional mushrooms in there. So it's fairly full spectrum. I mean, it just saves me having to buy each one individually. But it's great actually. You can just drop. I just normally just drop it into like a cup of tea midway through the day or something.
I think
But yeah.
the branding's really important, and I think that's why Four Sigmatic were great, because they really started to mainstream shrooms. You know, before
Yeah.
it was like, it was a bit weird. You could get the supplements in the health food shops.
Yeah.
It's like just a load of weird people went in there, and you know, it wasn't mainstream, it wasn't cool. And let's be honest, in the world that we live in, you know, you want brands to be aspirational, you want them to look cute or to look sexy and to look cool. And they were certainly, yeah, like you said, trailblazers in doing that. And I think that's really important with products that are using herbal remedies. You know, even if in your heart you'd like to have it all pretty and flowery and hippie. I mean, I'm a real hippie, so I would probably like to go way more mushroomy. But I think, you know, you have to kind of create products that are not going to put people away or alienate people.
Yeah.
You know, your branding's great. It's really clean. It's really, you know, you wouldn't look at it and say it's a herbal supplement at all, probably. You know, it looks, you know, it's just a real crisp design. And I think that's really important in terms of bringing people into adaptogens and herbal remedies. You don't want them to kind of think it's all a bit woo-woo and woo-woo.
Totally. You're right. I mean, look, for a long time, yeah, you're right. I mean, the Four Sigmatic were by no means the first to market with it, but but all the previous iterations are just kind of beardy weirdos, like kind of.
True. Yeah, definitely. It definitely put people off. And I think mainstreaming shrooms and mainstreaming these products, I think, is really important, because, you know, it is difficult to launch brands that have functional products in them. You know, there is a bit of pushback from your FDAs and from your FSAs, and, you know, making sure that you're tapping into the regulations.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, once you've managed to tick those boxes, and, you know, we're putting products out there and educating people, I think making sure that you're creating cool lifestyle brands that people want to get involved with, because as we said before, it's not just take a pill and then you're done. Like, you know, you want people to kind of be loyal to your brand for a few years.
Yeah.
Whilst they kind of find out those benefits.
And it's all about like the engagement. So whether it's the lady from Rainbow doing like kind of nature trails, I think Four Sigmatic they've got kind of what they call the shroom room somewhere in, like, I think it's in Venice Beach in LA.
New York now, I noticed.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah.
Albert Kenny was the one I went to.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's all just kind of like, just kind of bringing it to life, making it kind of real, like putting like kind of humanizing it, and just kind of, yeah, just taking away from kind of the back dark aisles in the health food store, and kind of making it feel like it's could be part of someone's morning routine or evening routine or just daily routine, really, and just kind of giving it that place, and like the deserved place in someone's medicine cabinet, or even like not even their medicine cabinet, like their tea cupboard or whatever it is. Just make it kind of something that they just go to automatically every day, and it doesn't make them feel like they're kind of eating some weird kind of crazy supplement cooked up by some sort of like monk in the woods. But,
although with the right marketing slogan, that would sell. I would as well. I was just looking at the ingredients of 1111. It's because they've got 11 mushrooms in it. So they've got reishi, chaga, lion's mane, cordyceps, turkey tail, oyster, messima, is it agaricon? Agaricon and shiitake. Yeah.
Nice.
And then fruiting body, royal sun. So many maitake. I'm just gonna that's it. So I'm gonna give up trying to pronounce body mushrooms, because I can.
Yeah, it's a
as I said,
you should probably have like kind of the more specific ones for kind of like how you kind of want to, like which kind of adaptogenic mushrooms you actually want. But I'm kind of lazy, and also they're $45 a pop, so I'm just like
yeah.
So I just said 1111. But yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
I remember the Paul Stamets stack. I researched quite a lot of that back in the day, and then I saw him on Joe Rogan, and that went through the roof, didn't it, as well, when he started doing the talk on there. But I think more access to people like him and other people from the network, the mushroom network, it brings it to the forefront. It's not just about mushrooms either. It's a lot of the psychedelic research is, you know, 100%. To do with acid, to do with, you know, MDMA, all the different things that we've taken, that there's now different research going into them all. I think
there's just a lot of
also helps you guys.
There's a lot of just that. I mean, did you watch that like fantastic fungi documentary like a year or two? So good. And that Netflix one where like it was just a load of celebrities like recanting times they got like weirdly high on psychedelics.
So funny. The woman from Star Wars, her story.
Yeah, I know. Hilarious.
My favorite was Sting like birthing a calf on peyote. It was so funny.
Seeing the miracle of life just unfolding, but you're like, so sting.
I know.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how that, psychedelics are, they're not mainstreaming, but they are coming into the mainstream world in a big way at the moment, whether that's actually psychedelic therapy. You're seeing lots of clinics opening. There's some in the UK, but in the US and Canada, there's a lot that are using psilocybin and MDMA, and ketamine clinics are opening. So people are now understanding that there are powerful compounds within these herbs and fungi that can really help. And I think the overall message is healing, right? So it's healing ourselves, fungi healing the world in terms of habitat restoration, in terms of natural pesticides, that you can put fungi and mycelium onto a crop that doesn't harm the crop, but then it somehow, acts as a host to kill off any bugs. So I think there's some really exciting stuff around healing with fungi at the moment. And, knowing what we know and the industries that we work in, what do you think the future is of health and wellness? Is there anything like trends that you're seeing coming out, or that you think people are going to start looking to more?
I mean, we touched on a little bit. I'm kind of becoming more and more personally like obsessed with like getting. I mean, this is like super basic, but it's like it's so core, and like not enough people do it. And like it honestly, like number one like way to have a better morning, to feel more awake in the morning, is to get enough sleep the night before. So like I mean, I follow kind of a lot of like the VC kind of community out here in the States. There's a ton of money going into like helping to improve your sleep. I mean, obviously like exercise has been kind of done to death. There's like a ton of money in the more like general like medicinal and kind of nutritional kind of wellness spaces, but you're starting to see like, I mean, there's a mattress company called 8 Sleep that's taken like hundreds of millions of dollars, but people swear by it. It's literally just kind of keeps your body at like an optimum temperature as you sleep all night, and people are honestly talking about how they've never slept better, and that when they have to go stay in a hotel, they literally are like crying all night, like missing their 8 Sleep mattress. So that's something I mean, I probably will try this mattress fairly soon. I quite like.
What's the website for them again? I saw an article on that. 8 Sleep.
I don't know if it's just like 8 as the word or 8 as the number, but it's 8 Sleep.
Yeah, no, it's 8 Sleep. I saw something because I do a lot in investing and stuff, and I saw there's a hell of a lot of money. I think I mentioned it last time on the show, Zoe, a hell of a lot of money now where a lot of people are going into mushroom and psychedelic based companies, early adopters, because they've been microdosing for a long time. They've seen that kind of rise in that, and sleep as well. Sleep is a huge area that people are going into, and I mean, it is, people are realizing if we can't optimize, because I think we've gamed our days as much as possible, because if we there's so many different ways to like miracle mornings, which I don't know if you've ever seen that. There's a book about from the minute you wake up, getting up and doing 6 things that you love, and like the first hour, and we've exhausted how to optimize life. Now it's only natural that we go into the sleep section and kind of smash that. But I'm just going to post this mattress, because I did see something about this as well.
They also have a mattress topper now as well. I mean, the mattress itself is like $6,000 or something, but the mattress topper is, I think, a lot more affordable. Put that in the
but I'm sure.
But yeah, it is. Yeah, right. It's like one of those things you don't really think about, because you're like, it's not like you're spending your whole time at night being like, oh, how can I optimize my sleep? Like, you're just asleep. So it's definitely, but it's something you should be spending like at least 8 hours a day doing. So it's like a third of your day. But until very recently, there's not really been a huge amount of like evolution in like improving sleep practices, or like, I mean, obviously kind of there's a ton of new mattress brands out there, but none of them are doing anything original other than managing to cram a mattress into a box. Whereas 8 Sleep are kind of trying to like actually revolutionize what it means to like be asleep, and how the body kind of reacts to certain like external stimuli, and how you can kind of counteract that to kind of try and keep you in the deepest sleep possible, so that you wake up feeling as good as you can possibly feel. And it's like the kind of the rewards of just getting your sleep 10% better are vast. I mean, you can't like if you sleep 10% better every day, that will reflect in your productivity, that reflects in your relationships, that reflects in your mental health, that reflects in how well you can work out. Like, it has a massive knock-on effect. And on every other aspect of your life. So like, I mean, for me, it's just like, it's something I've not really focused on too much. And my partner's a big sleeper, but almost do it like a kind of a crazy amount. Like he would just like sleep 9 hours a night and then like another 2 in the afternoon. Whereas I'm kind of always tried to like minimize my sleep and just like see like how much I can get away with. But it's coming to the point where I'm like, I actually probably should just go to bed earlier and like just try and get the 8 or 9 hours instead of like, I'm always wake up at like 5, 6 in the morning, but instead of going to bed at like 11 midnight, just try and get to bed at like 9 or 10.
It's something that's so easy, and yet again, it's like it's glamorized to stay up late. You know, when you're grown up, you get to stay up late, and all the good things happen at night, and all of the, you know, all of these stories that have been interwoven into our culture. And yet, yeah, the older you get, you're like, oh yeah, not being awake all night is cool. It's cool.
Yeah, totally.
And then you notice it the next day, and that probably is something to do with your body can handle a lot less sleep the younger that you are, you know. And then as you kind of get past that 30 marker, you definitely need to start creeping in that extra half an hour every couple of years to kind of optimize your sleep. But I think what's interesting is it's the sleep, but then it's the winding down to sleep as well. So, you know, nootropics and people looking towards nutraceuticals to kind of help support that sleep, because also then people expect to be on, watch something, do something, and then go and lie in bed. Like, of course you're not going to be able to sleep. So I think there's this whole culture around sleep, which I think you're right is going to be a huge part of health and wellness, where it's like, you know, we're all very focused on our morning routines. You know, what do you do to get up, you know, miracle mornings, or, you know, what stuff do you take in the morning, or your coffee routine, or your mushroom routine, you know, and it's all focused on mornings. But actually, I think there's, you know, Aurora nighttime maybe is coming, and then there's like
maybe a different brand, but yeah, it's definitely something I've looked at.
Yeah, you know, what herbs do you start to take at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the afternoon and in the evening to help your body wind down? You know, things like valerian root, things like lavender, stuff to mean that when you do lie in your bed at hopefully, you know, 10 p.m. that you'll actually drift off to sleep instead of just lying there staring at the ceiling wondering why you can't get to sleep. So yeah, I think the switch in the routine focus could be really interesting.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I'm kind of, my nighttime stack's not that exciting. I mean, I just normally get a cup of mint or lemon balm tea, but I don't know, I have played around with like CBD and like melatonin and stuff before I go to bed, but typically just makes me dream like a maniac, and like, and I think ultimately I don't sleep that well. I never feel like that refreshed. I just feel a bit groggy and like having had some weird dreams. So yeah, I'm much more on the kind of the valerian root, kind of lavender, very like assorted herbal teas, like a ton
lavender
of teas.
Lavender bath, 9 o'clock every night. I have I mean, I know this is not good for anybody if we're running out of water or anything like in the world. Sorry, but I have a lavender bath at 9 o'clock every night.
Use the same water though, right? Every
you same water every day. Yeah, same water every day. But I'm thinking about it. I'm like, should I be saying this on air? It's not fucking anyway. But no, I have a lavender bath every night at 9 o'clock, and I wind down, and I don't have my phone beyond that time in my room, and it makes such a difference. I mean, I've got like a little pink alarm clock, but now I've just moved into this new place and I've decided not to get curtains in my room because I could just wake up naturally with the sunlight. And I've been waking up about 5:30, 6.
That's amazing.
Everyone can see what I'm doing at night though. So like I'm just totally, I sleep naked. So I get dressed and I'm like, I should really have curtains, but I'm like, no one can see. It's all fields and stuff. But if there's any stalkers out there, they're getting a field day.
Farmer Joe will have a nice view one night.
Yeah, exactly. I've just looked at for anybody that is interested, by the way, I've just been looking at the 8 Sleep again while you guys were talking, and there's a financing offer, but they're just under $3,000 actually.
Okay, is that pounds?
That's $3,000.
Okay, is that for
that's not too bad? No, that's the full package.
Okay, yeah, so you're not massively more than just like a bed in the box, but
no, they've got their topper thing, but it's got an app. There's an app that goes with it.
Ask if they had an app. I think
so it's fair. You can like kind of set it, and like I've not used one, but I hear fantastic things about it. So I'm kind of.
It's not. You're not sleeping on Bluetooth and Wi-Fi though, are you?
Ooh.
No, like you're sleeping on like some sort of like air conditioned, like, or just some sort of conditioned temperature. I don't know whether you choose the temperature, whether it chooses it for you. So if you want like a really deep sleep, it might maybe it just works it out. I don't know the mechanics of it. So I'm just
Well, some of
talking
these things I look at and I'm like, yeah, they're amazing. Then I'm like, oh, it's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. I mean, if you do any, you don't have to go far to be able to do a bit of research into the whole kind of Wi-Fi thing at the moment, and it's terrible. But I'm just looking at this bed and I'm like, because that's the second time I've heard it, and I'm like, there must be something there. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, sleeping without your phone, certainly near your head. I mean, for years, my phone was always on my bedside table. When I was really young, your phone would be like, you fall asleep texting, or like it'd be under your pillow, which is like the worst. And now I have my phone either downstairs. I live in a small house, so you can kind of hear it when the alarm goes off, or I have it kind of the other side of the room. One, it makes me jump out of bed to go and turn the alarm off. But two, I'm finding now I know my phone's not there, and I always have my alarm set for 7 a.m. But I always wake up about 6:45 naturally, because I just know that the alarm's coming, and I don't have any curtains as well. And I think tapping into those circadian rhythms and that natural rhythm of how you sleep is really important. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more focus on how you sleep, how you go to bed, and how you wake up. It's like these are the two most important things that you do. They're everything, obviously. What happens when you prepare for your rest and what happens when you come out of your rest. And I think, what you do at those points can literally change your whole day. Don't worry about taking a supplement just before you go to the gym at 3 p.m. It's like actually what you did first thing and what you did the night before is going to be the thing that's really going to kind of tip your health over the edge, I think. So
100%. Yeah. I mean, I've stopped using it because it's quite expensive, like subscription, but it was like, if you have in the UK, Whoop, but it's basically, it was like a, kind of one of those ECG monitors, but like used by like all sorts of like NBA players and things out here. Like, had a ton of funding, and it was meant to be like the kind of the best quality, and it would like give you a really detailed look in your kind of how you slept the night before, and then also if you're working out, like it kind of tells you like how you're performing and kind of days you should rest, etc. But I noticed such a huge correlation between like poor nights of sleep and like just not really, like I typically work out like most days, and just some days I can't really do anything. It's like because you didn't sleep very well, and you just like it's almost like willpower. You just lack willpower, which prevents you kind of pushing yourself forward. So yeah, it's an easy win getting like 8 hours of sleep or 9 hours of sleep as opposed to like 6 hours of sleep, but not enough people do it.
That's true. Eating as well, eating before bed. It's one thing as well. I eat about 5:30, 6 o'clock now. I have my dinners about 5:30, 6, but I'm a northerner. Even though I'm from Devon originally, I lived in the north for quite a long time. So it's tea time.
Tea at 5:30.
Yeah, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
A little bit early for me, but
it didn't work when I was in Ibiza in Spain. It was like 9 o'clock dinners.
Yeah, it depends when you go to bed. I mean, I guess if you eat at 9 and you go to bed at midnight, that's better than if you eat at 9 and you go to bed at 10. I think it's just like you've got to give your body time to.
And also, I think it's what you eat as well. Like if you're having kind of like a salad with very little like sodium or like kind of cheese and things in there, then you'll probably be fine. But like if you're piling on, I was in LA like a couple of months ago, and we did it a few times, and I really noticed my sleep was terrible. If we have tacos at night, and like I think it's the salt content. I'm not 100% sure, but
your body's busy breaking all that stuff down when it should be repairing. And
exactly.
The next day.
Yeah,
indeed. Well, I think we've done a full exploration of mushrooms and sleep this evening.
That was quick.
That was, really quick, hasn't it? Thank you so much. I know Zoe's got so many amazing people to speak to, and I'm loving. Like, I don't really do much research beforehand, so I'm learning a lot as well, and about what you're doing. And I've put your details underneath. If anybody wants to reach out to Tom, not Adam. Adam's not the person we were talking to. If anybody wants to do that, I don't know who Adam is. Was he the last guest? I don't know. I can't remember. But he came into mind. Maybe he's my man. Maybe he's the new man. He hasn't shown up yet, and I'm calling him out. Adam, show yourself. Adam.
Any Adam email Nat at
There you go. But is there any more things you'd like to add? Well, I mean, your details are below on the YouTube channel, so people will be able to check it out.
If anyone wants to send me an email about anything, I'm here. I respond. I'm a responder.
Good. So if you've got anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Just thanks for coming on and chatting to us. I think it's really interesting to talk to one other entrepreneurs that are doing things within the adaptogen space, and it's always interesting to find out people's objectives and reasons behind why you're doing what you're doing, and people's take on health and wellness. Because for me, it's a bigger picture of how we're all taking charge of our health and looking back to nature for natural healthy solutions. So yeah, I think it's always great to find out what journeys people have been on and how they've got to where they are now. So thank you. And maybe
thank you guys, it's been really fun.
Again, when more you maybe release new products or things happening, we'll definitely talk to you
big
more.
time.
Yeah,
When you're I'll be back in the UK. Yeah, exactly. I'm coming back.
You will.
I can't wait to try a function. Yeah,
in person.
Oh
God, imagine that. Crazy. So everybody who's going to be watching this later on, do reach out to Tom if you've got any questions, and also Zoe has her fabulous drink as well, Function, which is the mushroom non-alcoholic beer, first of its kind, I believe. I've not seen any other. There could be some, but
we're flying solo, which is exciting.
Flying solo, there you go. So everybody, if you want to catch us, you can also see us on Roku. We'll be on Apple TV very soon, and we'll also be on Amazon Fire Stick. You can just type in I Am Sound. Remember that we are not on social media for good reason, for our mental health, but you can reach out and message us if you want to. We have the 24/7 radio station that you can also get from the App Store or the Google Play Store, which is again I Am Sound Radio, and you can reach out to us on our website. So apart from that, long list of places that you can now find us. Thank you very much for joining us. You guys stay there. Everybody else at home, thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one, which will be the first Tuesday of next month, which will be May.
Yeah. See you
Bye
later,
for now.
guys.
Bye everyone.